how much I like the show, but I like, especially like since the like Pop Tarts and the late night breakfast, like I really am. I mean, you guys have a crazy collective here. Like y'all are the Wu-Tang of media, and people are watching and listening,
I like
and
that.
I'm one of them.
Welcome to Late Breakfast. I'm Torian B.
I'm First Class Reg.
We have the usual suspects. We have Mena in the building.
Yo.
We got Eli P in the building.
Yo.
We have Funny Julius in the building.
Holla.
We got Danny here.
You.
And we have Robert.
Yo.
So,
well, you can drink on here, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I'm drinking wine.
Okay.
So, and we got a special guest in the building, She Lindsay, straight from Atlanta.
Oh, I'm a special guest from Dash Radio. No, what I was saying is it's so many of you guys, but the personalities are so distinctive. And like, if you watch 2 or 3 episodes, you already have a favorite and you already have a not favorite or someone that you have an opposing opinion with. So you guys are really killing it. And then you add the merch and the weekly drops and,
we got a lot of answers, questions answered. And now we have more questions, right? So the season finale, I thought was one of the better season finales. I really enjoyed it. It was like a little like mystery, like trying to like find the person and everything like that. And I really enjoyed that. But everybody can like kick off their opening thoughts and then we'll just like go through the episode and like try to like really like get to the bottom of this shit.
We told y'all she was pregnant and y'all didn't believe us. We told y'all.
I'll be the first to say I was against
Andrew needed a better woman in his life. And guess what? He's gonna find a better woman in his life. We told y'all out there. Please respect our facts.
You're specifically talking about Molly. You're not a Molly fan, I guess.
I love Molly.
Molly is the MVP of the show. I'm not gonna lie, because of the drama.
I feel like Molly's arc has been the most polarizing of the entire season.
Yes.
I think,
the whole thing kind of like focused on her this season.
Yeah, I think she showed growth, but not the level that I think like I've said before, because her growth hasn't been as obvious as other people's. It's hard to see, but the fact that she is growing throughout this process has kept a lot of the show and a lot of the conversations going. And it's like you guys said, she's the MVP for this season for keeping the show perpetually interesting.
Or they just had to have a bad guy. They had to have a bad guy. So there's no story without a villain.
But I kind of want good for her. Like, I'm like, yo, that's the funny thing. She's like an anti-hero because she's fucked up. You're like, yo, I just want you to be cool.
She was right. She was right. Lawrence was messy as fuck.
How was
he fucking needy?
Why was Lawrence messy?
We're getting right into it because
that's the temperament with most of my friends here that like.
Okay. We're gonna wait. We're gonna build it up. We're gonna get to that point.
I'm always gonna advocate for Molly.
Rob is just the Uncle Ruckus of the show, obviously.
Relax.
Relax. Wait, Q's not here. Q's not here right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Wow.
I'm disappointed that we have to see a lot more Condola and a lot less of Andrew.
Wow.
I don't think Andrew's not.
Talk to him, Minna.
I would like. That's really how the fuck I feel.
On the show now. Condola's on the show.
Yeah, now she's gonna have to be a part of the narrative because they're not just gonna get rid of Lawrence. Like, oh, that's it. All right, bye. No, we're gonna see how this unfolds. We also were left on a cliffhanger because we don't know what Issa's decision is gonna be. We just know she's thinking about a lot of shit right now. I think that it's interesting. Y'all hear the bot going off, by the way? It's like bombs over Baghdad over here. I think that it was a great finale in the sense that it wasn't what the general consensus wanted, but it's what we needed, right? Because everybody's like, oh shit, I can't wait for next season. What's gonna happen next? I think that for a 30-minute episode, it's one of the best, like, well-rounded ones that they've done in a while, where we got all of our questions answered and we got left with some more questions, like, in good faith. Like, all right, well, you got to come back next time to see more. I have a lot I want to say about the details, but I'm gonna wait till we like roll out the comments.
I think Issa raised that. People always say that, like, oh, HBO tried to fuck her over with the 22-minute thing. And I was like, I think it almost like shows how much she is a genius and she can put all of this into 22 minutes. Because
exactly.
like,
they have a phenomenal staff.
Yeah, that's like
the writers,
a superhero power.
Yep, they killed it. They killed it.
I think she probably wants it to be structured this way. I don't think it's something that she was fighting for. I don't think she was fighting for an hour.
Well, they gave her white counterparts 45 minutes and up for the past like 15 years, but that's another.
That's true.
I think that's also a choice because I think it's hard to get people to watch content for that long these days when you first start building up. And I don't think she expected Insecure to jump off the way it did. And that's why it also had the spacing in the seasons the way it has. Because and I think she just stuck to her format because it's much easier to get people to watch, to build up at time over time to instead of just initially having them watch 45 minutes on a show they don't really know.
Almost every show. I mean, she probably doesn't feel away, but almost every show with four women as the stars, they get 40 minutes or more.
Yeah.
But Issa got 22, and the way they said it was because she was an internet star and not a on TV or on screen star. So they didn't want to roll the dice, but there's some back and forth about because she's black, because of course it always gets compared to Sex and the City, and out the bat they got 40 minutes and up. But I mean, we'll never know. So,
but I think it's a countdown, right? Like we always, what makes Insecure so great is the fact that like we're waiting to, like you said, to see how much she's going to fit in this 22 minutes. Like not only are we watching, but we're counting down to see, well, where the fuck is this gonna go and where is it gonna end? And I think that the season finale did a great job of that. So I think she like black people, we work with what we have, even when it's less.
We create soul food no matter what you put in the kitchen.
We only got 28 days in Black History Month, and we still make that shit work.
So.
All right, so let's get started with the episode. It opens, Issa is at a market, and Lawrence tells her the great news. He got the job in San Francisco. And
I knew they were gonna fucking take us on a roller coaster because that was too high. That was too much of a high on the first scene.
Yeah, it was nothing like a happy ending, right?
It was.
So, Charlie niggas.
So they had the conversation and they pretty much solidified like they are back together. They want this to work. That she told him
which I liked because I'm always the one that catches things late. So I was like, wait, are they together? Or like, what is this like a thing yet? So I was glad like right off the bat, 5 minutes in there, like, no, this is a thing. We're together. We're gonna make it work. Yeah.
And he seemed hesitant about her going with him though at first.
I would be. He thought she was gonna say no.
Yeah, I think he was scared that she was gonna be like, nah, this was fun, but like I have things going on here right now.
Which she should have done.
And it shows the pivot of like, well, not a pivot, but it shows the development in their characters and like how communication is key this time around. Like even going back to how she communicated the whole thing with Nathan, even though that's messy as shit. But a
part of me though, like, I don't know, Minna, maybe you can back me up. I don't know, we just met digitally, but like it's almost a fairy tale of communication because in my experience, men aren't that clear about what's going on. I feel like if like me or one of my friends were dating Lawrence, it just takes so long for men to be clear with what's going on. So a little bit of me, I do think that like Issa kind of writes, and it's not just her, in kind of a fairy tale form because men don't, that's just not how they roll. And I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to be triggering for anybody.
No, I can agree with that, but I also feel like that's why in the episode right before this, we had that montage of them going through all those days and nights together. I think that was their way of like compacting so much time into like, we only got 2 more episodes left to show y'all where we're going to drop off.
Well, also, I think the conditions change when now this is like a revisit for them. This is like, they're getting reacquainted. So it's like, it's a lot of visitation of, all right, what didn't work last time? What can we improve on this time? So I think that's just the upgrade of that. That's just the next phase where you just get better on your communication if you're with the same person again.
Little bit of a fairy tale.
They were together 5 years. So realize this is also, even though they're coming back, there's a lot of stages that they've already had and they'd already gone through when you're in that long of a relationship that a lot of the games are already out the way. The problem was the communication. They recognized that from the jump with each other, and when they had that conversation, they both acknowledged that it was communication that they were lacking. So this time going into it, why wouldn't he put his best foot forward if he really wants it to work and communicate when it's at this point and knowing he's about to leave?
Well, I didn't think about this, but a lot of Twitter reacted like, because to your point about the communication, it's like when he said him and Condola spoke and everything's good, and then he comes back and he's like, JK, LOL, everything's not good, she's pregnant. A lot of people were asking the question, like, well, a lot of people were asking the question, what did you guys last speak about that let you think, oh, everything's good, we spoke, it's good, and then within 24, 48 hours, whatever, everything changed. So that could be a good point to your point on the communication, that maybe he knew something was going on, not explicitly, but that he thought maybe he had an inkling something was going on, and he made it seem like it was really over.
Not to get vulgar, but like from broke niggas to rich niggas, like pregnancy is normally not a surprise. Like they may front it to the whole world, to the baby shower, that I had no idea. But every nigga I know better than I'd be like, nah, I kind of knew. Like the way we was getting down that last 3 months,
right?
I knew that it wasn't impossible, but I was about to say that when we were having the actual face-to-face conversation, because then I look crazy. And just what I think is that, like, and I hope that this doesn't saturate Issa's writing or, you know, her picking directors moving forward, but a little bit of the episode was fairy tale-ish to me. Yeah. Like, that's just not how niggas roll in general.
Yeah.
And that's just not how women's bodies work in general. Like, you can only get pregnant
at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can only get pregnant one day out the month. That's like science. So to say you had no fucking idea that she was pregnant is a little bit like, bruh, come on, my nigga.
I know
you
a
have
lot,
to be
you know,
there.
How long it takes a guy to pay attention to a woman's.
You have to be having sex on a regular basis to get pregnant. You can get pregnant one day out the month. Like, I don't know if that's a fact.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been told that. I just think it's crazy. Like, I know dudes.
So and it's like, oh my.
And I'm like, damn, bro, you really be catching it on the dick.
Right, like it's almost damn near
impossible. They were together all the time. There's a difference between when she got pregnant and when she found out she was pregnant.
And we don't know how much time they were actually dealing with each other that he would know that time is the time.
All right, so guys, let's stay with the timeline of the show so we can like get to that, right?
Okay, so
they were probably having sex all the time the month before, and that's when she got pregnant.
So we go from that to Molly and Andrew, and they're at Molly's work function. And you know, they're having a good time. You know, they're like pointing out stuff. You know, shout out to my man Torian that's on the show. And you know, Molly like kind of like pressures Andrew into going to like a after work thing. And you can tell Andrew's like, yeah, I kind of just want to go home and watch the show.
The Toya show.
Looking for Latoya.
Latoya show. But he goes because, you know, she's putting that Nigerian voodoo on him, so he goes. And
Nigerian show though, T.
I never fucking Nigerian, so I don't know.
Oh, they're just a regular Black American family on the show.
All right, she's putting that Ebony loins on them.
We're talking about Molly right now, your queen.
Minna's right. Her parents on the show are Black American.
They're just Black American. She's Nigerian in real life.
Right. Okay. So she's putting that Nubian queen.
Yes, I think this Black puss. I think.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, she just put in the Nubian
ambrosia. We'll just call it ambrosia for short.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's cute. Wait, who said that?
Ambrosia. Yeah.
So they get back home, and you know he wants to put on Looking for Latoya, and she says, I just want to lay down. So he does what some men would do and say, all right, you know, so I won't spoil it for you. She's like, no, let's watch it together. And he's like, he passive aggressively says, all right, on your time, you know, like, and then that starts the whole conversation that they have.
Crazy part is, like, Twitter was saying that wasn't a real fight, but between me and 9 of y'all, that was a real fight in my household one night, like a real fight. And I didn't see this shit coming, but it started from, hey, can you turn it off? That's my favorite show. And then it just never went back.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
That's how it is. When you hold in so much resentment, it goes from like, you could blow up at past assault. Like, honestly. Like,
we had a real argument about that. Like, and so that's when the crazy part was when they did it, I was like, when people were like, oh, that's not real. Well, you know, reaction on like the threads. And I was like, nah, I actually got to an actual fight about both of us liking a show, me saying, hold up, I'm about to go to sleep. I don't want to watch it and I don't want to miss it either. And it just never got, it never went back down.
So let's be honest. How many of us really watch shows when our significant others and like skip forward and act like we're surprised?
The point is that's not what it's about. It's also about
the worst shit. You know how hard it is, and I haven't seen that shit.
I love all the men are like, me.
You know what I mean? Yo, I've seen movies and had to go see it again and pretended like, yo, that was
facts.
All the time.
Yo, did you see that girl? Oh my god!
I've done that mad time.
You know how many times I saw Game of Thrones episodes? Like,
listen, I saw The Dark Knight 4 times in movie theaters.
So this is the difference between I think. This is the difference between dating someone Asian and someone black. Because apparently your black partner would have just watched it with you, as opposed to your Asian partner being like, "Why can't we watch it on your Because it seems like everyone on the Zoom was like, "I just probably would have just watched it again." And not even.
No, but I think it was just about Andrew being fed the fuck up. Like he's
exactly.
He said it. Like I always have to compromise for you. I make everything even before.
You're like Andrew, you don't like Molly no more. Like you don't like her no more. Like,
but I don't know that he ever did. I think he really was into her, and then it was just like when you find yourself constantly being the only one trying to make it work. He was like, all right, well we've ran our course, which is like we're gonna skip. I'm gonna skip a little bit, but not a lot. But when they get back to following back up with the argument. And he asked her the question, like, what do you even want to fight for? What are you fighting for? She didn't have an answer either. Because I don't think that she loves Andrew as much as she loved the concept of having a boyfriend and having somebody who was bending to her will all the time.
I was going to ask Torian's opinion on this. Like, okay, so, and I might sound like a dumbass. I honestly have no idea what Andrew was mad about. And Torian is big on growth and communication. So I was like, I got invited on the show like earlier today, so I didn't know I was gonna be on here today. But I meant to even ask Torian on some friendship shit, like, bro, what was he talking about? Like, why was he so irritated?
Okay, Torian, go ahead.
Well,
no, I mean, first of all, Rage is a god, so I take both answers.
Wow,
boy.
Wow,
boy.
Wow.
Reg, answer the question before we get a boxing match in here, yo. Just answer the question.
All right, so I think he was.
Is that $20 a month or $5 a month? How does that content work?
Yo, y'all don't let Reg been trying to talk for 20 minutes, by the way.
Nah, like you see, Jesus. So I think a lot of what Andrew's frustration was that he was big on compromising. So like compromising is like obviously like a big thing for him, even with down to the way that she was acting toward his family. Like you take it back to the trip that they had and how she pretty much disrespected his brother, and he didn't stand up for it. He didn't stand up for his brother. He was just like, yo, like you're out of line or this and that. And he obviously had a problem with something that she said, and he never followed up. Like it was just.
And he took his girl side of his brother's side, which is hard to do in public.
Like he did that, and like he never. But it's.
I know a lot of niggas that would have been like, "Yo, Lindsay, you're wrong, bro. Like you did the most on vacation." Like
partially his fault too, because he let all of his frustrations build up, and then they kind of just spilled out the way that they did. Instead of like address, and I think I said this a couple episodes ago too. Like
you did. That he never addresses shit.
You did. I saw the episode when you did. But go ahead.
Yeah, he never addresses anything. So like he's justified in feeling the way that.
Which I think is the Asian in him.
No, it's not, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's me.
And I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Like I may be completely wrong.
That's me.
How is that you? Give us an example. How would it feel?
Because eventually, I know you're getting on my nerves, but let's just take this trip. Let's continue our walk through the park.
And then we're in paradise.
Hopefully we, just it smoothens out, okay? Because it's bump after bump after bump, speed bump after speed bump, and it's like, okay, I'm tired, but I put so much time and energy into this. I don't want to let this go because it's of something stupid.
Like almost an emotional investment. Like, okay, I done all this shit already.
Exactly. You just don't. Exactly. Okay. You put so much. It's like when you're putting money in a car. You just want to ride it, and you just want to keep it going until you just can't afford it anymore. And he can't afford any more emotion. So I understand the passive aggressiveness and him not talking about it. Well, whatever bothers him in the moment.
So then my question is, a therapist would say, what role do you play in it? Because clearly Andrew had knew what type of time Molly was on from the minute he met her, because she never made time for him from the beginning. So he's always been putting in more effort than in this relationship than Molly has. So in actuality, he has no one to blame but himself.
Well, maybe
There
he
you go, spinning it
growth.
for Molly. You are such a cuck with this shit.
Well, no, but also maybe he's just acknowledging Molly's growth and sees potential in it. And I think maybe part of him did like her, but he was hoping that there'd be growth because she has.
Wait, say it again. Say it again, Daniel. Wait, say it again.
She I think part of it is that he does see a growth in Molly because, like we said before, she has grown in her own way, and she's tried. Maybe not to the extent we'd like, but for her sake, she's tried for her sense. But he just got fed up of giving her chances for more and wanting more, and he realizes he's not going to get more. So why not cut his losses there instead of continuing to invest his time and have his time wasted if she's not going to open up more and realize that she's dictating the relationship, the terms of the relationship.
That has made the most sense to me out of all the explanations, because I was watching that scene. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is he talking about? But what I don't know. I don't know if they call you Daniel, because I know some people like to call Dan or Danny. But that makes the most sense. He had an epiphany of like, what the fuck? Like, this is clearly not ever gonna go the way I want it to go, no matter how hard I try.
Yeah,
but
I
feel bad for him because he's been doing that from the beginning.
Well, I'll be honest. I do think that Molly did make compromises. I just think that.
But I think Molly's compromises aren't real human compromises. I think it was a compromise in her world, but most humans would compromise more.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Well, because she's even doing that in her relationship with Issa. Like, so this whole time, she hasn't really been able to even tell Issa what's wrong, what she actually feels. She just has these expectations that she sets for other people. And if they don't meet it or they fall short of those expectations, she feels like it's a personal attack.
And I'm literally screaming at the TV, like, if you just tell them what you need, your best friend and your boyfriend will probably just do it.
Yep.
But they have no idea that you were holding them to this standard at 9 and they're at 6. Because they're like, bro, I would have easily done 9 if you just told me.
Yep.
But you won't just say it.
Is that you don't know it in the first place, and that's nuts.
Yes.
And that is literally probably the definition of a schizophrenic, like creating a false reality, and it doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
I mean, she's also, I saw this tweet and I think it rings true where somebody was like, Molly's the perfect example of like therapy doesn't mean shit if you're constantly going and speaking to a therapist, but you're not actually putting in the work. Yeah, and I don't think that Molly applies the work behind, okay, I know because I'm smart enough to know how to be a better person or be a better version of myself, but I'm just not actually gonna put any of this shit to work.
She's like, I'm seeing a therapist, I'm doing the work, so there's that.
Like, no, you're not. And even in like the end of the episode ending with her and Issa coming back together, it's like they have this trauma bond where they fit best back together when they have nothing left and everything has fallen the fuck apart. And Molly's the one that made that call. Molly made that call.
And literally in my head, I'm like, y'all are like two trap niggas that started out together and like have a trauma bond and won't let it go.
Y'all are messing up.
Let's follow the timeline, y'all. So let's move on. Y'all are anxious.
This is my first time, so I'm sorry if I'm
it's
like.
It's all good. No, that's all good.
That's what she said.
The conversation.
And this is like being in a room full of my favorite famous people. So I'm so excited to be able to talk to everybody.
So Kelly is blowing up Molly's phone. So Molly finally stops the argument to answer the phone, and then we find out that Tiffany has gone missing, and many people's suspicions of Tiffany going through postpartum has been true. So I forget her boyfriend's name. I forgot because he's a fucking
Derek.
Yeah. Okay. So Derek is on the phone trying to get details, and he's flipping out. And Molly and Issa, this is their first time seeing each other since they had their breakup. And it for me, what it made me realize is that like Molly and Issa, like they really, really love each other, and like even though like they're mad at each other right now, obviously the love is still there because another person could have just been like, well, if this bitch is gonna be there, I'm not gonna be there. I don't give a fuck. Like I wish Kelly was best. So we know that like their beef was like very like surface level, just things they need to get through, right? So I just thought that was like very telling, and I also really thought it was very telling to show like Derek, and I think the way Derek is represented was like amazing as far as like a guy, because usually guys, all the men on that show don't understand women or aren't there for women. And on this episode, I think Derek, they wrote Derek in to look really good. They made that man look like immaculate as far as like understanding what his woman needed.
The
Go
whole
ahead.
season, because even at the block party, he took the L and went home for the baby, like things
You
like
remember
that.
Because they were showing little nuggets of her postpartum for like 3 episodes. Shout out to Minna for recognizing that shit.
A lot of people up until that last episode thought that Derek had some type of secret life, like he was cheating. Like I saw that a lot.
I did.
Well, the nugget from that was, remember in season 3 or season 2, she made a flippant statement that he was, we're okay, but he's been staying in the hotel the past 6 months, but we made it work. Like, remember, she's always made flippant statements of him not living in the crib. Yeah. And so they were just like, oh, okay, girl. And we can only assume why would he be living in a hotel for 6 months?
So that's a good
and
point.
They're married.
I didn't think about that, but like a lot of those.
She's always done that. Well, the character has.
Because going back to the block party, when he's like, oh, we're getting calls about the baby, like we should leave. And she was like, can you just handle it? Like I'm finally out. And he left like with ease. And that kind of like raised people's antennas. Like, oh, he left so easy. He didn't even put up a fight. He just left. He must be like, cheating. And I'm like, how you get that from that?
But their relationship has always been like an Easter egg hunt of the series. Well, like if you don't listen to all the little statements they make, you'll miss something out, because the first 2 seasons, she always made statements to his cheating and him not living at home. And then she got pregnant.
I think the biggest part of this is, right?
And it was
It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that way, though. You shouldn't know what goes on in your friend's marriage. And when Tiffany talked about Derek staying, nobody asked why, because that's their marriage. Yep. They're not in a relationship. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend. They are married. Yep. The reason why this season finale was so pivotal for this moment, because we finally saw the chink in the armor in their marriage. They had been trying to protect hair,
so that was a
yeah, this moment almost made me like Amanda Seals. Like this much, I was like, yo, I'm made.
Oh wait, is there?
She's doing her job well.
There's no reason not to like Amanda Seals.
Oh, man,
there's a lot of reasons. Which ones do you want?
She's literally my Shiro.
The cast has made a lot of comments about having friction with Amanda Seals as an actress, and I think it shows. Yeah, they've said things. I mean, girl, for
they
one,
didn't invite her to the party.
There's a lot of things there.
She's acted her whole life. Well, go
she's a little problematic as a person for some people. I don't work with her. I don't know, but they've said things about her, and I think it's kind of reflecting in the storyline too, because she gets about 3 to 4 lines a fucking season, and even in this entire episode,
yeah, I never a lot.
Damn!
I would have liked to
been very interesting to dig into the woman's perspective of her postpartum, as opposed to we're gonna make this about every other fucking character going off to find her.
Yeah.
And giving her 2 lines, which are, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Not to go back
I think it says a lot.
Not to go back to the 22 minutes, but when you got 22 minutes, how can you dig into postpartum and being bipolar? Because now there are two characters suffering from mental illness that we couldn't go really down the lane with them because they didn't get the 40 fucking minutes that Sex and the City got for fucking 9 years.
But the problem is,
or that Boardwalk Empire got for 4 years.
Hey, relax.
Relax. Okay, sorry. All right.
How long was Girls? Now I'm gonna Google it. How long was Girls? But that's the last one that came out.
You have to keep in mind that this show is not about anybody's perspective or POV, but Issa's.
And Molly.
And Molly.
Okay, wait. I just want to say, Girls.
No,
Girls was 30 minutes.
I didn't say
horrible too.
Which I think is worth mentioning. I just Googled it because I also think it has a lot to do with just like the viewers' attention span changing.
Yeah.
I think that has something to do with it. And Girls is technically the last like stepchild to Sex and the City before Insecure came around. Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like with Issa and Molly, it's always constantly like, okay, the reason why I say it's from Issa's POV and Issa's POV only because the show starts out with you looking at her in the camera. Her in the mirror. So now you look at the reason why this is important, why we don't dive into character development, because we're only looking at the position of how these people in effect Issa's life.
Oh, okay, so you're saying it has nothing to do with time. It's like, let's have the storyline. That's what we're doing today, girl.
I can see that.
Yeah,
okay.
like, it's saying
I'm
like,
okay, I'm
so
mad at that.
something happens with Tiffany. Something happens with Tiffany, right? So in the midst of all that, yeah, we want to deep dive into what happened with Tiffany. Oh my God, like I want the story from there. But let's focus on the point that for Issa's POV, we're Issa. Oh shit, something has to do with Tiffany, and I gotta go see Molly.
Okay.
Are we gonna address my issues here?
So in the words of
we don't
Wale,
have time,
girl. That's not what we're talking about right now. Like that was never what we're talking about, basically. Okay, that might be that.
And I want to make sure,
honestly, over racism, that probably might be the real reason of why it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with Rob. I think a lot of people make it like a black thing because it's an all black cast, but that particular genre of show that they have, just like Girls, is only 30 minutes.
Yeah, that might be just what they're doing. Yeah,
that's what HBO does. And then you have shows that are like dramas, like full on dramas where there's no comedy, that get an hour long. So
yeah,
because Boardwalk Empire and Sex and the City have like real movie stars as the lead, so I can see why that. Okay, I'm mad at that.
So says that
I'll agree with that.
Comedy. It's a comedy. She says it all the time. This is a comedy. It's gonna be 30 minutes. It's a comedy. Like it's meant to just be a day in the life too. Every episode is really just like what happened that day or that week. Like it's never like a long stretch of time.
I think that's a credit to how good the writing on the show is, that we want more. And that we want.
That's what everybody says. Yeah.
More about these characters.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, it's
just give me Kelly's podcast. That's all I want is Kelly's podcast.
Because that bitch so motherfucking funny.
Give us 2 extra episodes.
Yo, when they brought up her peeing again, I was fucking crying.
Okay, wait, Torian, keep going down the timeline because I got shit I want to say about.
All right, yeah, I'm ready. So
get on the bus.
Yes, I'm trying to get on the
bus. They go where she was last spotted, and like they're all scattering, trying to retrace her steps. And it was a hotel that they went to, right? The first hotel they went to,
Wilshire, downtown.
And everybody splits up. You know, Derek goes his way. Kelly goes and talks to the security guard because like he's seen some shit, and Molly and Issa basically decide, like, I think Issa kind of wanted to do it together, and Molly
Issa thought they was gonna bond, and Molly was like, girl, bye.
Yeah, and then they split up, and then they all realize, hey, it's a bar. She definitely went to that shit. And then they go to the bar, and then that's when they start putting the pieces together, like, all right, she had to get into a Uber or a Lyft, and you know, Issa does like her math in her head because she's a Lyft driver.
I loved how it turned into like an episode of SVU. I was like, get the crime, solve the clues, bitch.
I didn't need that.
I loved it. I was like real Harriet the Spy about it. I'm into it.
There was little nods at things. I mean, I guess to Rob's point, like it is from Issa's point of view and her perspective, but like, you know, how we get the whole like, well, I don't know if Torian's getting to that part, like the little nod to like police and how, you know, they over the top they can be at times, and
yeah, so perfectly planned.
Yeah,
I was when the cops pulled up, I was about to be like, oh, this shit is about to turn left.
My favorite scene was when the white cop was like, not me and not tonight.
Not today.
You go that way, you go that way.
So,
and think about how the fact that this was written and shot way before any of this went down. Like this season was already completed before we ended up in the moment that we're in. So it's very much, I think that Issa and the other writers and producers, they do a really good job at, one, this show is very much about life and growth, but it's very much about LA and it's very much about the Black experience.
It shows you how quick a cop could have been like, hey, I'm not doing this. Goodbye.
Yeah. And just the little things, like the fact that it was like a Black bus driver that pulled the cops on them, but then the white guy that didn't get the energy he wanted out of Kelly turned on
a random Karen you see the random Karen next to him and was like, yeah, that girl is like, and I was like, wait, you weren't even were you on the bus?
Like, what the fuck were you talking about?
Right. So they go on the bus ride, and then they realize like, oh shit, like this is the spot. So they just pass it, they get off, they have the interaction with the police officer. And that was a good imagery of the times how things could go, right?
It was the best case scenario for how that could go.
Best case scenario. So then they finally get to the hotel room, and she opens the door, and the thing that she said that like really hit home, because my stepmother, my father's first wife, my father's been married 3 times. My father's first wife.
Shout out to the God.
She went Black God. She went through. She was like, she basically said, I didn't know what to do. Now, I want to say this before we get serious. I thought she was going to open the door and a nigga was going to be there.
Me too. It would have made perfect. Right.
I was calling. I was saying like, yo, she's with Daniel. Watch, she's with Daniel.
What?
Getting beats off
Black writing is more complicated than that.
Right. Yeah. What novella have you been watching?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing. I'm totally guessing.
Virgin shit.
Yeah.
Yo, that novella you be watching is wicked, bro. That's crazy. HBO, bro. Relax.
Yo, Rob, we can start. I need you to relax.
But like, what did y'all think about that instance? Like that, it was so little said, and it's funny because basically Tiffany only had 4 lines, but it was so much said with that. I didn't know
the energy. I love the nonverbal communication because that nonverbal communication is what I hope me and my wife have, where we don't.
Bullshit.
Everything is said in that moment.
That's
what I'm talking about. Like he was just, yo, I know, and she was like,
and I like how they fell back too, because like I felt like my homies would have ran up, but they were like,
mine
you know
too.
what?
They would have been like,
my right.
Who in there?
Like,
Who in there?
Bitch, we've been looking for you all fucking day. Like yada yada, blase. They were like, you know what? This is probably like. But that's when the Issa fairy tale shit be coming into play. But that's another story.
I don't think so. I think that's when you really.
Yo, but she never opened the door. She didn't even let him in.
We have all been in real situations with real people of color, and that would have went a different way. Like, let's be guys. Like, please, like, no one can back me up.
No. I got your back in that. I feel like it would have, but I think this was for the sole purpose of
the
just
show.
shedding light on postpartum and how real it can
like,
be.
Minna, would your 3 homegirls have not at least asked you, girl, what the fuck? Where your phone?
100%.
Yeah.
But I like to think about it in the sense of Hollywood, right? And we're in Hollywood, I'm like, well, okay, we saw them hug. They could have had a moment. We don't know what happens in the next 15 after that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see how they end up going home. Does anybody talk to them? I leave something to the imagination there.
Like, it was only a couple minutes. True story.
Yeah, I try to leave something to the imagination, but also I feel like these writers are giving the audience a lot of credit too. Like, they don't spell shit out for us. It's very like, if you're paying enough attention, you should be able to pick up what they're putting down. And I think that's them giving a nod to the audience and the culture. Like, yo, we don't have to like, these things are real.
Y'all are smart. Like,
yeah, everything doesn't have to be an after school special. Like, we do experience these things because we are real people, and no one has ever shown us on TV before as real people just experiencing real shit without it.
It's the first, like, because I'm a mom, whatever, not gonna go too hella deep into that, but like my situation after I had the baby was crazy. Payman want to say hi to y'all too, so when we get to the end, I'm gonna let him come and say hi. But that's the first time I seen Black woman on TV with postpartum, because there were little things that happened to me in the first 90 days that I thought, well, I was like, damn, I'm going crazy. But I'm like, Issa, you know, that's why in my mind I wanted them to have 40 minutes. But if you're right, it's probably, y'all are right, it's probably not because of racism, but in my mind, like, they would have 40 minutes and maybe we could have saw the steps up into the postpartum. Because when it happened to me, I was like, damn, man, I'm in here tripping. But now that I look at that little 8 minutes of that, I'm like, nah, it was probably me just not.
And as you, for someone who's a mom and has experienced it, could you tell in the other episodes too, like when you saw the little signs, or did you like? When did it?
Yeah, that's why I used the term Easter egg hunt, because I was like, she was dropping gems about that, because I even resonated with her when she was like drinking and she was like, damn, okay, I gotta go in the crib now. Yeah. You just want to go in the crib or whatever, because there's been times like that where, you know, and then you battling with guilt, and guilt be a motherfucker. And I don't want to like go too deep into it, but I'm like, I would have liked to see more of that. But postpartum is some crazy shit, and Amanda Seales is the first Black woman around my age that I've seen have postpartum on TV.
I think the first time I saw it was the first time I saw it and recognized it was Blackish.
See, I didn't really clock in after like a couple of seasons. But after she had the baby, it was an issue.
It was completely downhill. It went completely downhill. She couldn't. The baby wouldn't take her breast milk. That was the issue. The baby wouldn't stop crying. It would only cry when it was in Dre's arms. So I think
not to get
postpartum
too
depression
personal,
is
but
something.
I like all that shit happened. And I was like, wait, this isn't what they said was gonna happen when I went home. Like, and it'd be like, and then a lot of times like they say it's because like, and this I don't know if this is true or not, but they say like a lot of times doctors when they're not black they explain things wrong. So then you go home and you don't. They didn't really explain it in a way where you can understand and delegate it, and then that can turn into postpartum.
Yeah, I'm not a mom, but I know a lot of moms that said the same kind of thing that you said, where it's just fresh to be able to see it in front of you on something that you enjoy watching all the time.
And then because black women women of color in general don't ever say like, hey, I'm going crazy or hey, something's going wrong. Because I've never had any black woman in my whole life admit to me that something was going on upstairs. But so I'm like, well, damn, I don't want to say what happened to me because no one's ever talked about this shit. And maybe I'm just tripping.
And maybe that's why Tiffany didn't tell her girls, because the girls never even mention it. Nobody says anything.
Think about that. Tiffany's plan was to just check in and out of hotels until somebody shows.
Yeah. It's hard. That shit is deep. It's hard.
And leave the baby.
But then I think about how many women want to do that. I think we don't talk about that enough in our community where, you know, that same fear where like men kind of fight or flight, and most times wind up leaving, but women be like, nigga, I want to leave too.
It's like, I think it's also
the crazy parallel was like Nola saying in the same episode of them showing the homie having postpartum, saying like, you know, like however much you want to be involved, it's okay with me. But I tell all my friends like that want to have a baby, I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody tell you. But my personal opinion is, if the dad don't fuck with you, at least as a friend, it's going to be hard as fuck. I don't care what nobody tell you. If you rich, if you are so sane that can't nothing bother you, even like police brutality, if the nigga you had a child with is not at least your friend, it's gonna be a long mental road. And I don't care what nobody tell you, it just is. So it was crazy to me that both of those sides were in the same episode, because I was like, Condola, you're wilding, because you might want Lawrence to at least fuck with you because this is your first baby. It's going to be a crazy ride, my nigga. I'm telling you, it's going to be a crazy ride. What's about to happen to you, it's going to be crazy as fuck. So it was just a weird, I'm like, you're literally going to be like Amanda Seales' character. So to me, I don't know if they're geniuses over there, so it probably was planned. I thought that was so weird that she was like that he could leave or stay. I'm like, my nigga, he's a good nigga. You might want him to at least be your friend, because like it's gonna be days when you're gonna be so tired you can't even get up and feed the baby.
That was
fire about the show.
I think that was set up as a guilt trip, but we'll get to that.
But I think what's fire about the show too is that they also give us a perspective of everything, right? Like we've seen Issa struggle, but she has a lot of working women in her life too, and it's like there's a lot of different faces to this. And so a lot of people I think that like the only time you really go through it with raising a kid is if you're not like financially well off as much as other people or whatever the case is. And it's the fact that like Tiffany had the means to go check into a hotel. Not everybody has those means. Or even when you talking about Condola being like, you can or you can't ride, whatever. Like
when Condola said that, I was ready to knock my TV off what is it called? the thing. I was like,
these are women with means. And I think that's another dope perspective too, of you just watching Black women on television, that they got it and they can figure things out, you know. It's nobody should
be say that to like a drug dealer. But you that to a fucking nigga who works in technology.
Let's roll into that next shot, since we already started talking about it. Issa meets up with Lawrence, and there's two things that stood out to me in this, right? One was the way they shot it was really great, because like you have him telling Issa that Condola's pregnant, but then you have Condola telling him that she was pregnant, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, in my opinion, I feel like Lawrence lied to Issa and said that they spoke when she asked him the first time. And like that's what I was like harping on.
You a nigga, you would know.
Right.
You a nigga, you would
know. and this is what I'm gonna say, right? So women have female intuition, but niggas be knowing, right? So when like we all predicted, yo, she's pregnant, like she's blowing him up, like I didn't fully like give my detail on why, right? So Mena told me, she was like, well, Torian, that's just something men think because that's their worst fear. But one thing that I know, like, is when a girl is done, when a girl
It's my worst fear too, though. Let's go on the record. Hold on.
Woman's fed
So what?
Oh,
it is also my worst fear,
I
though.
thought he was assuming it's a woman's.
Okay, it's our worst fear. So, but
Wait, what is someone unexpectedly saying they're pregnant?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I was just
although all of you guys would be fantastic parents.
Right. Right. Yeah. But I just think when women have ended it with me, like when I was the one like being told like, nah, this ain't it. They were not contacting me nonstop saying that they have to talk about something. That so for me, if that happens after Shorty tells me like, yo, you was just a rebound, like I'm good, like I'm not trying to get serious with you.
And it goes back to that one day a month, like
right.
Lawrence.
And
I tell me you had fucking idea.
That was
they don't think about that. They not unless you're not tracking calendars unless you like.
Shit, I didn't know until I had a baby that you could only get pregnant one day out the month.
Goddamn.
And my gynecologist and I was like, oh.
A, most
is
guys
that a real thing?
And B, most guys don't pay attention to a woman's cycle unless they've been with them for a long period of time and it's been a long-term relationship. You don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or you planning on getting some.
Right.
But you still got to be fucking a lot raw to hit that on that one day.
Yeah, right.
I mean, shit be happening.
Okay.
And that's what I guess that's what Lawrence was saying. Like, I guess
I'm not being long-winded. And then my other thing is just that when Issa answered that question, typically when men answer questions really fast, we lying. Not all the time, but
I hate when you get the cheat code.
It
makes me sense.
There are some men that are very like short on words, but you know, it just was very interesting to me that when she asked like, "Oh, did y'all speak?" And he was just like, "Yeah, it's done. That's it." Like,
oh, you're right, because he went over her house that night.
Yeah, like he did it.
You're absolutely right.
So my thing is like, I just think like he just stopped responding to her, and like he was like,
"That's probably likely."
That's messed up.
For me being a man and having experiences with exes or girls that like I no longer dealt with, I was like, she pregnant. Like that's like I understand like how some people could have been like, nah, that's just you man thinking. Like, nah, I'm like, nah, man. I've been in those shoes. When a woman don't want to deal, like it's one thing if y'all break up and y'all still like meeting up and shit, but when a woman don't want you, she don't want shit to do with you. She is not blowing your phone up. That's what I know.
That's true.
So
I think I just did not want that to be true. So I was like, fuck out of here. That's not happening. But I also feel like we didn't see them break up. We just saw that kitchen scene. So I was like, well, what if she like still wants to fuck around and like what if it was a booty call? What if it was whatever? I was trying to, I think, hope for the best. And I didn't want to assume it was pregnancy. Like she could have just been trying to get some that night. They just finished like being off or whatever. But you were right. And I hate that.
Come next season, Nathan is smashing that first scene.
Oh yeah.
Opening scene.
I don't know. We don't know that Issa. Let me tell you something.
That.
I'm not about to let no fucking side baby come in between me and the love of my life. If this man just got his job in San Francisco and you guys are working it the fuck out, one of two things can happen. Yes, I understand her being upset and it's a lot to process. But she can either choose to walk away and move on, or she can say, okay, so what are we about to do about this? Don't
about
forget
to be
that this
messy.
is a couple that was together
She
for
about to get
5
taken
years
down in that barbershop.
I mean, first of all, can I say something also as a woman? I'm really fucking upset that Issa even told Nathan that she was seeing Lawrence again, because that was none of his business. Neither one of them were her man at the time.
I was getting wine, but I had my thing on still. I was like,
she was being transparent. I thought
no, thank you.
I thought that was great that she told
one. That was that fairy tale shit I was talking about. But on the flip side, I think she's trying to be an angel for Youngin, for Lawrence, because
I don't think there was anything wrong with her telling Nathan that.
But she's going, but
she didn't know where it was go yet.
You know, women don't move like that.
She's trying
to prove.
It don't matter though, like, but that's how people react.
She's doing the right thing.
Yeah, I get that.
That's how people react.
So I'm not gonna argue.
And Nathan's my favorite character.
I'm not gonna argue with the women's perspective, but from my perspective, I didn't see it as wrong that she decided to be transparent about that. Like,
I didn't say wrong. I said dumb.
Lawrence is also not a real person, because light-skinned niggas don't act like that.
I didn't see it as dumb because
that's a shot at Reg.
They don't. Light-skinned niggas don't act like that. Light-skinned niggas.
That's a shot at Reg.
Like they literally put like they look like well, okay, well this I didn't mean to make it a color.
Keep going.
No, but like they really made that character up. Like no light skinned nigga with green eyes is that real, that thorough, like dropping jewels like that. That's just not.
Well,
a thing.
yeah, he's bipolar, so there goes your floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Okay, Eli, yes.
Not a flaw.
He's bipolar, so what
Not
you
a flaw, relax.
We ain't know what Nate was getting.
That sounds right. That sounds accurate. Okay,
Yeah, that's on brand. That's on brand.
I've never met a red nigga in my whole life that acted like that, other than Common.
The Common is toxic as fuck. I don't know what you
That's
talking about.
hilarious. Other than Common.
Common is toxic as fuck.
All I'm saying is I don't think it was dumb.
I'm still Team Reg though. I don't want you to think that that's not a thing no more because of what I said.
Oh no, I'm good over here.
I'm gonna still get the red T-shirt and all that. You know what I'm saying?
So
Yeah,
shout out.
So
Shout out to.
I think her saying that, like I said, was just her trying to be transparent and her knowing it was just her ultimately just really wanting shit to go right this time. Like nothing to be in the way on her side. So I saw that as like, you know, if that's how you feel, that's how you got to see through it. Like,
she started treating her how niggas treated. Like, yo, I told you that, so you can't come back and act crazy because I told you all the moving factors.
Cool. That's cool. I just think.
I see that she's.
But me and Minna know
that
would have never happened.
Yo, the moment she went over there and he opened the door, she was like, "Yo, what's good, bro?"
Can I finish, Eli?
Go ahead.
So I think her saying that is kind of just shit, and I'm losing my train of thought now. Fighting with y'all niggas.
Transparency.
Yeah. So her just,
you were saying it wasn't ill will. She genuinely wanted to.
Yeah, she just really wanted it to go right. She don't want if shit to go wrong this time for it to be on her. So I don't think it was dumb.
I do. I think she could have had it both ways if she played it correctly.
See, that's
wait a minute. What is your birthday?
Play. Okay.
When is your birthday, Minna?
November 13th, 1988. I am a Scorpio.
Okay.
Very on brand. Very on brand.
I'm not saying that she had to cheat on either one or do anything with either one. I just think that she could have kept her options open by saying less. But Issa has never really.
If Lawrence said less, and
no, Lawrence got somebody pregnant, Tori, and do not compare that. Hold on.
I'm just saying if Lawrence, I'm just saying if Lawrence said less.
What? He
should have never played his cards and told Issa that he ended things with Condola. Issa was not.
But he did end things with Condola. She got pregnant after the fact. She got the positive pregnancy test after the fact.
No. We really don't know anything.
Let me correct myself. She got the positive pregnancy test after the fact.
Right.
Yeah, so she probably wasn't feeling good. She said things was over, wasn't feeling good, and called him back like, "Nigga, I'm pregnant. I need you to come back here."
Robbie did was like, you was nauseous when you told me you didn't want to fuck with me.
Right. Exactly.
First of all,
and why, me personally, I'm not showing you my hand like that. So when Issa asks, "Are you finished with Condola?" Why are you asking me that? That's nothing to do with me sitting here with you right now.
It has a lot to do with.
Well, no, yeah, that's not fair.
It does.
Isn't?
Here's what I meant. Can I backtrack this by also?
You cheated on me. I didn't cheat on you. I don't owe you anything.
Whoa, Robbie Digital.
Yeah, but now you're. What's the point then? What's the point of revisiting it if you're gonna be bringing up the past all the time? Don't y'all say that all the time? Or
so why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me crazy in this one scene? Why I tell you I got her pregnant because I tried to move on with my life.
But you just yelled, you cheated on me. I didn't cheat on you. That's a bit a biased opinion.
Is that something you're going to hold over your head for the rest of the time that y'all try to move forward?
Are you going to be mad that
because the timeline's right? That happened 2 years ago. And like, I mean, you know, we just met.
So I got a girl pregnant. What's up? She's pregnant.
I don't.
You still
those things are not those things are not the same. Rob is our resident villain. Nobody actually I don't even think he agrees with himself sometimes. But
so shout out to the film editor.
The back and forth.
Mark Sadlick.
Amazing.
Mark Sadlick and the cinematographer Ava Berkowski. That shot was beautiful and amazing. The editing in that
how they did the Q&A. Right?
Yeah, the editing in that scene is the best editing in the series because of them going.
I'm gonna go with that.
and the characters just finishing each other's sentences and thought. I really, really, really liked how they did that.
That was next level.
How the cinematographer how the cinematographer and the director blocked that scene with Condola and Lawrence, because you can tell that they're not going to be together by her standing up alone and him sitting down. So I really, really.
I also like the way you can tell, like the way, like, because in most situations, like when people are having a baby and they don't like each other no more, it's really mean. But they were just mean enough so we can see that without disrespecting each other. Because I've seen like the mom and dad, and they'd be like, "Damn, these motherfuckers hate each other." You could tell that they both were like saying declarative statements of like, "I don't fuck with you," without saying, "I don't fuck with you."
So Princess Penny, who directed the episode, and she's their showrunner too, and she's also like a big name in Hollywood. I think she's in a bunch of things that I wish I could remember. Yeah, she's a huge name, but she's their showrunner, and she directed the episode, Princess Penny. And she specifically, she tweeted after the episode, and she said, "A lot of y'all are coming at the duality of Lawrence, but I wanted that scene to be him angry with Condola and him empathetic with Issa, because I wanted you to see that there are two sides to every human being, and that, you know, depending on who you're speaking to, you're intaking the information differently." So when he speaks to Condola, the point is there's tension and there's anger because this is fucking up his whole plan. And then by the time he gets to Issa, he's had time to sit with it and be like, "Yeah, this is a lot. How can I help you understand this? Because I just went through a lot understanding this." And I thought it was dope that she even shouted that out. Like, she made sure the audience knew that. Like, I did that on purpose. I wanted it to be two sides of the same man and how you can react to this differently.
And in complete layman terms, it's the way to talk to your baby mother without calling her a bitch.
Princess Penny is a guy.
Not that that's ever happened to me. Like, speaking for a friend. Like, it's like,
you heard? I just want to clarify that. Princess Penny is a guy.
Is he? Okay, maybe he is. My bad. Maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else, but that's his name.
Okay.
The whole time I thought it was a her because I think I'm picturing somebody else in my head.
Okay, never mind.
All right. So one thing that I also found interesting was that I saw a lot of people on the timeline, like a lot of women had opinions because they were like, "Oh, well, bye, Lawrence, it's over." Like, you know, because a lot.
No, Atlanta. Well, I guess it was all Atlanta women, but like in the like little party singing and like the scene that I'm on, they all were basically like anti-Lawrence after the season finale.
Right. So what I noticed was that a lot of women feel that, and this is regular, so it's not a wrong thought at all or a bugged out thought. They were like, "Nah, like I'm not about to have that experience taken away from me, having my first child with the man that I'm with, because that's like that's a very unique situation. Like y'all are like reconciling, and obviously he didn't do anything wrong, but at the same time,
he didn't do anything wrong, I don't think, but." Yeah. I don't want to like. I guess I'm being recorded saying it, so it's other women are gonna see it. But I don't think Lawrence did anything wrong because I don't think he could have predicted this in 100 years that Issa would come back, that someone that he broke up with would get pregnant and keep it, and he would also get the job that he's wanted for the last 7 years, and it would all happen in 6 weeks.
Yeah. I think the audience is being really hard on Lawrence, actually. Like, he's a human being. And
I'm like, I know fuck niggas, and this thing ain't one of them.
Right. I know some dudes, like, I know some girls that have baby fathers that, like, just aren't present. Like, that just, like, it just, like, dudes.
Oh, sorry, wait.
What
is that?
So, like, for me, I was just like, all right, well, obviously Lawrence is going to do the right thing and be there for his child. But the
part that made me know he was gonna fuck with her when he was like, "This is before I even applied for the job," which made me think like, damn, he wouldn't even apply for a job out of town had he had known, like, and that's how much he is just a nice human. Like, I wouldn't have even went out of town if I knew I would have had a baby.
I call myself mommy and daddy's favorite accident. I am my father's firstborn and my mother's only, and I was not at all fucking planned. And my parents were not together when my mom found out she was pregnant. And a lot of people reacted kind of crazy when he was like, "Is it mine?" And like, I know for a fact that my father asked my mom if I was his. And then I was, and then he did what he had to do. So I also don't think that some of these questions are that wild. People are just like coming at their necks like, how could he ask that? And how can he say this and that? And it's like, if you're a fucking human being and you don't know the math
And
on
someone-
something. These are
And
possibilities.
someone tells you like, hey, man, I don't want to fuck with you no more. And then I pop up in 5 weeks and it's like, I do want to fuck with you. I'm like, well, wait, what the fuck happened in these 5 weeks that me and you wasn't?
Yeah, like I was like, I'm sorry, I think that's fucking normal. My dad asked the same
And-
shit. He's also been the
and I
best father
think-
he could be to me. Like that ain't
Lawrence is gonna go down in history for asking the questions that this was perfect the way he did it. He asked the questions that almost every man should ask in the sweetest way possible, in the most not offensive way possible. Because like I was thinking in my head when I was watching, I'm like, so there is a way to talk about this without calling me a stupid bitch.
And even when he asked about like the abortion, he without saying it, but saying it like
there's a way to
people
ask
were mad
all
at
of
him
this.
for that though.
But
I
there's a
think
way
those
to
are
say
valid
this.
questions. Like, are
There's
you
a
gonna
way to say this without questioning my station in life, questioning my education, questioning me being a good person. Oh, there's a way to ask all of this, but Issa just was able to write it because apparently in real life, no nigga knows how to ask these questions other than Lawrence without calling me a stupid bitch or a dyke or whatever niggas think of.
But that's how Lawrence is wired as a person from what we've seen. Like if he was to come out his face and say all of that, you would be just as shocked because
if it was Chad, you would expect this.
No,
Torian, got a girl pregnant.
How would a Harlem nigga have asked Condola about what was going on? No, you don't want to say?
It depends on the guy, though, because Torian will talk that talk, but Torian, you would not say that to some shorty. You would not start.
Of course I wouldn't. No, she wasn't asking because she knew that I would act like a Harlem
but that's
nigga.
what I mean. Like, there's a lot of different types of Harlem guys.
How would like your buddies from high school or your buddies? Like, how would that have?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to slander. Like, I'm just not trying to slander.
You send a text message. You send a text message like, yo, that's crazy.
Yo, that's crazy.
Moving along. I just want to make this point. What I gather from Candola, right? And this was also something that I thought about a lot, right? When he said,
Prentice wrote the episode.
When he said you didn't want to have a child when you were married. And she was like, I wasn't ready then. I personally felt that, and what the vibes that I get from Candola is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just my perspective. I think she wants a baby, and that's it. Like, she's okay with being a single mother and just wants to raise her child the way that she does, and she does.
Rap artist.
I mean, well, yeah, that's what she said. She told Lawrence.
No, I don't think she was trapping him. I don't think she was trapping him.
I think it was bad timing. Like that nigga could have been abusive.
Very bad.
She could have had an hourly job.
I don't think she trapped him. Hell no.
I make $31,000.
I'm telling you, I'm a child of this experience. Like this happened to me in real life. My parents.
What if she was only making $30K and he was abusive? So that's the wrong time to have a child.
What I'm harping on is the fact that I just think that she just wanted a child, like, and she wanted it, and she didn't want to have I think she's kind of off of being in a relationship with a male, and I think her marriage turned her off from that, whatever the details are of her marriage, and that's why she was so like cold to Lawrence and to the idea of being in a relationship. I think because there are some women who like actually be like relieved, like, oh, I'm having a baby, but I don't got to deal with this nigga. And if he in my life or not, like, I think Candola's like, I'll make enough money to take care of this baby and me, and I'll be fine.
But she kind of addressed that. Because she literally was like,
I think she said that. I
wasn't ready when I was married.
I'm in a space
now
where
it
makes sense.
Yeah.
I think
that's what I got.
No, because I think even in my situation with Pagan, I was like, no, I feel like I can do it, and I would feel bad if I just didn't do it, even though everything else makes sense with the crib and the money. Like, so why wouldn't I do it? So I think maybe maybe that's where she was at with, like, yo, I make more than this amount of money a year. I own this. I have this.
Like, kitchen.
It would be weird of me to pull this stunt as if
she does.
Well, I think it's
Have
more.
You seen her fucking kitchen? She's good.
I did. I think it's more of a physical thing though. Like, she's in her 30s. She's obviously in her 30s. Her biological clock is ticking, and she's like, "Yo, I may not be able to afford that luxury of having another child."
We're guessing about the biological clock.
Yeah, that's.
But we all know they're all in their 30s. They're all in their 30s.
That's an overstep, though, to say
that. No, but what we're trying to say is, like, just because the situation happened and she can handle it doesn't mean that she had a vision board where it was like, I'm having a baby.
I think it's more of her income and her credit score where she's like, no, I'm fine. This will be fine.
Yeah. I think so too.
What you know about biological clocks, Rob? Let's talk about
Besley is alright. I think me and Ben are both like, sweetie.
I don't know if man should have
not every woman is like sitting up in her room like, oh, yeah. I think it's time. Let me find them.
I knew Rob was gonna get some tomatoes for that one. A man should have
that, Rob.
Talk to me about your biological clock, though. I want to hear it.
So, what age does the biological clock tick in?
Yeah,
like I'm gonna just.
Rob.
And when does the battery run?
Time out. Everyone be quiet. What year does it happen? I would like to know.
So I was told by Black women it's between the age of 32 and 35. I don't know if that's true or not.
The thing is that can be very objective. It's
wait, Torian, will you still at me in the recording if I hang up now?
I was just I'm sorry, my fault. I'm just saying.
Because I still want to be a part of this, but I don't know if I'm done.
Yeah, Rob, you're wrong. My mother had my youngest brother at the age of 40,
and he's perfect. So
yeah, and like she had like obviously like it's rare as well, but she had like no complications. She didn't have to do anything special. She just and she gave natural birth at 40.
Wow, she's a superhero.
My mom had me at 38, and I would say not too shabby.
Okay.
Took me 6 years to graduate college, but we're all not Einstein.
You graduated. That's the point. We all made it.
That's what I tell everybody. I was like,
wait. So are we at the end of this episode?
No, not yet.
No.
All right, so we can get into that though. Whew. We cut away from that and pretty much like we left that a cliffhanger with Issa and Lawrence, and then we move on to Andrew and Molly. And they continue their conversation. They picked up where they left off before, the whole Kelly incident happened. And the whole Tiffany incident happened. And Andrew pretty much pulls Molly's card and says, yo, like, we keep having these problems and I'm fed up to here. And we see Molly in a state that we've never seen her since the show started, and she's pretty much like she's bending to this man's will. Like she
never does. Like
bending to this Chinese man's will. Like
shout out to you for noticing
I don't think he's Chinese, bro. I think he's like Korean or something.
I think so too.
No, but shout out to
that. Come on.
All right, she's bending to this Korean man's will. Like
that's why we call him Asian Bae. His name is Andrew. Just say Asian Bae. You don't know where he's from.
He is bending to Asian Bae's way, like we have never seen. She is bending over fucking backwards. She's in a pretzel right now, and she is literally saying like, "I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want." And he pretty much points out like, you just want to be in a relationship. You don't want to be in a relationship with me.
Yo, in my head, I was like, you got a baby by this nigga. Like, what? Like, nigga, like, you can walk away clean slate and stuff.
As for her, it's a symbolism. For Molly, she felt
Molly can't fail. Molly can't fail. She's like Jordan.
And I felt bad for her in this moment because it was like, yo, everything else has been going wrong. And now you're finally seeing, like, this is one of the main things you haven't been paying attention to.
Andrew was her last dance. It was like watching this documentary. Like, nigga, let it go.
Don't do that. That's twice.
You don't have
Boardwalk Empire and Chicago Bulls. Let it go. Stop.
You don't have to have a Janae Aiko. Like, you can just move on and like date someone else.
Nobody wants that 12-year-old. But anyway,
she was trying. I
was making a reference on like Asian and Black children.
No, but she was trying for so long to find someone right? Because all these seasons we've been looking at her dating and looking for someone, and I feel like that's what it was. She found someone, and he was really good to her. We can't deny any of that. Like, he was really good to her. It looked like the sex was popping. They was having a grand old time. He was successful. He was good to her friends, even if she didn't like it, and she kind of sabotaged it for herself, and I think that's what she was trying to deal with at the end of the episode. Like, fuck, all right, you're right. Like,
well, y'all think she really liked that nigga? She genuinely liked him?
I think she liked the idea of him.
Or do you think Molly can't lose?
I think she liked the idea.
I don't think she's that much of a narcissist. I think she actually genuinely did like Andrew. Like, she tried a little bit, and even though it might have been compromises to him, Molly tried. She did. Like,
even the therapist said it. Even the therapist was like, well, like your dad Victor, Issa, we can all say that they have done something wrong to you. Molly can't lose at all.
Yeah.
Like, and if her mind is, I'm gonna be with Minna, or I'm gonna be with Reggie, or I'm gonna make this like this work relationship work with Daniel, like it has to work. Or she's attached herself to the idea.
I think she just grew to like him. I think in the beginning, like she was already kind of apprehensive on dating outside of her race, so that was already a thing. And then she gave him a chance because he was such a nice guy. And then she just grew into liking him. And then it became a challenge of, well, how long can I keep this up? Because one of their last conversations was, well, this is the longest either of us have ever been in a relationship. So now it's like not necessarily you in it because you like him that much, but it's a challenge to see how long you can keep this going, which is like unhealthy in itself.
That's what I'm saying. Reggie, you're just a sweet guy. She's a narcissist and a sociopath.
But I also think she didn't see, I didn't think she even thought it was wrong.
Look at Rob's face. Look at Rob's face.
Go ahead,
His light skin
because she's a narcissist,
really knows no bounds, bro. It's Batman.
Go, Rob, go.
Yeah. Nah, I'm just saying, Reggie's light skin proudness knows no end. He's like fucking Batman. It's really ridiculous.
Well, first of all, Reg is perfect. I just think he can objectively see a female's point of view. But in this case, she's a narcissist and toxic.
She is, Rob. And Rob is just a big Molly fan. So he can't see. He just tries to get. He couldn't wait.
She do got pretty eyes and she do got pretty skin.
He couldn't wait to show us that she retweeted him because he was pandering.
I wasn't pandering.
What, you were digital pandering?
That in our group. He put it in his story. Like, oh my God, you are filthy. You are filthy, Rob. Could not wait.
Jim Jones retweeted me once. It was a big deal in my mind.
Me and Ari.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and you pandered her too, Rob. You pandered her into following you too. You fucking sick man, you.
Can we talk about?
I dropped an AirPod. Sorry.
Can we talk about the last shot again? Shout out again to Ava Burkowski and Mark Sadlick. The last shot of the episode.
We haven't got to that point yet, Julius. But
okay.
Sorry.
Go on.
Julius is the production guy.
It's a pull-out tracking shot that shot not from it looks like it's shot from the inside, but it's actually like away from the glass. So that's why you get the pullback. Go from like I believe like maybe a full shot to a wide shot, and I just
it was a pan out to a wide shot. Yeah.
Yes. And I just really
I love
enjoyed it, and it was so great.
Eber and Roper, nice, bro. That is nice.
I'm a fan of a oneer, so I'm a huge fan of a oneer. So I really thought that shot was brilliant.
And I love that they were in the Ethiopian restaurant where we first saw them ignore each other. Like they went back to that place.
Right. That was.
Well, that's where they go to eat.
All right, wait. Torin, send me Minna's IG, like, cause like I'm I'm Team Woman.
She don't have one. She got Twitter though.
I have a Twitter though. I have Twitter though. I left IG a while ago. I got sick of the fucking vanity project, but I like to talk a lot of shit, so I'm on Twitter.
I'm like pro.
Twitter sometimes.
I'm pro woman. So like, and after like the 7 gender jobs, I was like, how do I like get her autographs at some point?
We'll work it out. And I love that. I'll let you know when I'm in town.
I'm in New York all weekend. If anybody wants to do anything.
You're here now?
I get there on Friday.
Oh shit.
Reggie, like, come on, me and you've been hanging out like we've South by Southwested. Don't make it seem like we're not real friends. Like I've been at the Little Wayne concert with you. That's legendary.
Yo, man. Fucking South by.
Who is the legend, Wayne or Reggie?
Both.
Just asking. Oh, okay.
Wait, so when we see Molly and Issa.
We as we said, they are the toxic twins, and they both were going through something, so they both needed it. And it was really funny because in the prior episode, Issa wanted to call Molly when she called Molly, she wanted to talk to her about everything that was going on, her getting back with Lawrence, but she knew like, oh shit, Molly's gonna let me have it. But then Molly was the one who wound up contacting Issa with her dilemma, and Issa showed up. So I thought that was just like telling about their friendship and their bond. And Molly knew that if she called Issa and said, "Yo, girl, I just got dumped," that Issa would be there. Issa wouldn't have been like, "Fuck that." But on the flip side, Molly definitely would have been like, "This bitch using me. Fuck out of here."
Yeah.
But have y'all ever had a friend like that? Like a friend where y'all have gotten into like a friend you love, but it's like constant shit.
Yeah.
So you're like, I love this person. Like,
Yeah.
I have my like, I have a friend like that, and me and her have fist fought before, but I'm like, yo, I still die for her. That's my dog. But it'd be so much shit all the time.
Well, Molly
like,
also reminds me of that type of friend where they're real good with you when they're single, but when they cuff in, it's like they don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to like understand anything outside of their like little nucleus. And I feel like Molly was those vibes this season.
I think we're all ignoring how men can objectively vocalize what women are trying to say without making it sound trashy.
Thank
you.
I
just want to give you that compliment.
I appreciate it.
Give me your flowers while you still breathing, mama, because that is like, I feel like we get caught up in like saying a rack of bullshit, but yeah, like that's literally, I think, how all women feel about Molly.
Yeah. We've all had that friend that they're just like, it's
well,
real
like, nigga, you'll sleep on my couch and we'll be best friends and babysit I'm giving personal examples, but then as soon as you get a nigga, it's like, oh, okay. Well,
and then when they're done with it, they right back to you. Like, oh, hey,
because
girl.
a lot of it be the nigga don't like you.
But I don't mean, and then this sucks even more because I don't think Andrew thought or cared about that. It was really just Molly feeling like she didn't want the bad juju when she was the bad juju.
Because even with the shit with the block party where Molly, that was her mountain of emotion of why she felt away, I think she really went through Nathan. I don't even think that she asked Andrew. I think she told Nathan what was going on, and Nathan was like, yo, that's my man, I'm gonna just ask him. And it was an afterthought, and Molly made it Donald Trump big. I think she told Nathan in privacy, like, bro, this is what's going on. Like, we lost this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, that's my man. I just asked him. He was like, oh, sure. And then Molly made it like some vendetta against her.
Because she makes everything about her because she's a narcissist, like you said.
And a sociopath.
Yes.
And a sociopath.
Sorry, where were you going?
I think me and Minna just took it over. My bad. I'm sorry.
Y'all bodied
because we recognize we've lived these. Well, it's about female relationships, right? And we've all had these kind of relationships.
Since high school, we've seen this. We just had no one talk to about it.
You know something that I've noticed, and I'm just speaking from experience because I do have a lot of women friends. Women tend to, well, let me not say women. I don't want to generalize. I've noticed that my women friends that I pay attention to, even like my mother's girlfriends, when women get a man, they kind of say fuck, everything, and they kind of like neglect like the womanhood, the woman sisterhood.
And it's disenchanting because when you get close to a female, you like, that's my sister. Like, I go to the bank. I go to the bank and get out bread for her. Like, she could live with me type of shit. So he'd be like, because he likes you a little bit, you don't care anymore, and it's offensive.
I will speak to the fact that I have plenty of women in my life that know how to handle being in a relationship and still being a good friend, but I can count those, and that's why I admire them the way that I do, because it's a larger percentage of some women go through that thing where it doesn't happen as often with men. Like, men kind of stay like guys, like, unless they're kind of pussy whipped, it's really rare that you see like,
yeah, like guys will plan bros trips, guys will plan couples trips, so they'll be like, okay, all my homies are gonna bring their girlfriend. Like, guys will plan like events to include the women, and I'm like, nigga, just, you can do the same thing. Like,
yeah. And then the older you get, while you're in your 30s, it's really important for you to be a woman, you have to be able to juggle that, because we're only getting older. You're starting families, you have your careers going, or whatever the case is. It's already hard to maintain friendships because it's not like you like in your early 20s at the club every weekend. So for somebody like Molly to do that to Issa, to me, that was real fucking shiesty, because it's like, I've seen that go down before, and it's
this ain't me being ignorant, but Molly makes 6 figures. So in the back of my mind, because I'm from humble beginnings, I'm like, nigga, it's not that hard. Like, you're making this shit like retardedly hard. I don't mean to say retarded. I told myself to stop saying that. because that's offensive. But you're making it like geometry hard. Like you make over $100,000 a year. Like just learn to prioritize. Like, are you that narcissistic where you can't prioritize? You learn that like 9th grade. Like you're offensive. You end this wig. It's just like too much.
Wow.
I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know if you guys watched the wind down, but I watched the wind down after the show was over.
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't.
And one thing that I thought that was really cool when because Tiffany's character Amanda Seals was on there, and
she's hosting the BT Awards.
Right, and she explained that she was told like what her character's arc was going to be, and there was like little things that like she did like so when like and that she did on her own. So there was an episode where like her hair wasn't like done the way how how she's always like done, and she kind of like looks like Hillary from the Fresh Prince. She said that like she would do her own hair and kind of like come in looking a little disheveled, or like she came in and she was just like, don't do my nails, and like the paint on her nails wasn't fully done. And so she said like there were certain things that like she did because she knows women that suffer from postpartum. And I thought that was really cool that she took it that seriously, because she could have easily just showed up every day and just been like, all right, like it'll be
looking fly as fuck.
But if you're a fan of the show and you go back, you might notice those things when she said that. I thought that was really cool. Obviously she said other things, but I just thought like I guess like I put on like my actor hat and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
the subtleties. Because this is a great cast.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been acting since she was how old? 10 or 10 or 11?
She was on My Brother and Me. Yeah.
But this whole cast is so good that that's why we get so involved in their characters. Like we even forget that there's people behind the actors. Like we're just so involved.
And I might be wrong, but like I've never seen like a show with people of color where they've showed Asian, Spanish, and Black on the show, like where they like dive into like our romantic life.
Yep.
And I've never
and one thing that I love the most about like these little character details is anytime Andrew and Molly were about to meet up and he was speaking to family, he would speak the language that he speaks with his family, and as soon as she would walk in the room, he would give a heads up and he'll be like, talking in English out of respect for her, which I thought is great because for me,
my favorite part of the show, my favorite part of the show that like, people might not care about, but like so like I'm from DC and then I live in Atlanta, where like then I might get like terrorized for saying this, but like the bad bitch kind of like 35, 36 kind of thing is the majority of where I'm at and where I'm from. But like Issa kind of gave like this look into like you can be like slim, you can be like sarcastic and awkward, and you can date the creme de la creme. And like she showcased that on every side, because I think like from DC to Atlanta, you kind of get overlooked in looking a certain way. And Issa kind of was like, nah, nigga, like you could just be funny and chill and you can have a great dating life.
Yeah.
Question about that, right? So a lot of people have said to me that like on the show on Girls, right? Like Lena Durham, people say that Issa and Lena, they basically cast men that they would never be able to fuck in real life.
Not true.
Issa be pulling them?
People say a lot of shit on the internet behind their little Twitter fingers.
First of all, any girl, Black or Spanish, as smart, charming, and sarcastic, Issa can date whoever they want.
Issa's in a relationship.
I don't know how it is on the white side.
I'm not saying engaged. I'm just telling you what people say on the internet. They're just saying that Issa could never bag a nigga.
Haters, and they not pulling bodies. They only got scammers.
Who says that?
All the men in this Zoom are Black or Spanish, and y'all can all probably vouch for, if the personality is all right, y'all at least try.
Try?
I'm in try? There. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Dating life. I've had a wonderful dating life at all of my sizes. I've gone up, I've gone down in size. I've had good days, I've had bad days, and it's really not hard to pull dick. People just be hating.
Ew, with the sizes, nasty.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can date a plethora of different type of men. Men aren't even that choosy if we really get down to it. Like, it's like
nah, man, I do I for myself.
Our standard is good for. Don't do that.
Y'all don't don't care as much as people think y'all care.
Don't sip your fucking wine glass, Dorian. Try to be a bad bitch. Like, talk for yourself.
But y'all don't care. You don't think y'all care like a lot? Like everyone thinks you have to like Black China. I'm like, niggas don't care that much.
Yeah, that's what
Black China is not the standard for niggas.
there is a type of man out there that they make it seem like it's video vixen or bust, and I'm like, that's not real. Like, there's all these beautiful different types of women that look all these beautiful different types of women.
Okay, so I'm
beautiful men, and like
I'm just gonna say it. Minna is our people's champ. She's our spokeswoman because see how I just murdered that. And then she said it in a very clear way. Like, you're gonna mansplain for the rest of my life. I have to get your phone number. Like, I'm gonna be like, no, wait. I'm gonna say it wrong and offensive, but I'm gonna FaceTime the homie. You should tell exactly what I was trying to say initially.
I think men. I mean, I prefer my women in bonnets and stretch marks. I'm in for it. Like,
I'm sorry, what?
Bonnets and stretch marks. I want you the same
bondage.
Way.
I thought you said
Bonnets.
Whoa.
Rob wants to
say tie woman.
I'm editing that, so I'm definitely putting that out. I'm editing that.
I thought he said bondage.
It's okay. Like, he will in the video. I'm about to edit.
I was like, what?
Rob wants the shea butter queen. We know.
Yeah, you know what I mean? With coconut oil and like mad plants in her house.
I get it, natural women. I thought you said something SVU-ish. I'm sorry. But you said
if it
natural.
was SVU-ish, Torian would be on the case. Don't worry about it. It's all.
Shout out to the kid.
All right, so
I want to hear everybody's like finishing thoughts about the episode because we about to go into the next topic. So let's get the everybody's ending thoughts.
This is the best episode the season. This is definitely the top 5 episode in the series. The cinematography was amazing and extremely beautiful and very, very symbolic. And the blocking by all of the directors. The directors did their job this season because of the way they blocked it and the way they made the character, I want to say, even better. And that could be a better way, either more appealing or more unappealing to the audience. The music was pretty good this season.
Nobody's good.
What? Sorry, excuse me, my bad, Reg.
Shout out to Raphael Sadiq and crew.
Yes, and I want to say the way it was, the screenplay was, that writer's room did a phenomenal job. This is that writer's room has the best season for the writing. The way they told the story in the beginning, and then they made us come back into it in the middle, and then they took us for a ride in the end, and it changed things up. And I like the way they represented us Black people. It was really beautiful. They discussed even some social issues, stepping away from relationships. They even discussed social issues with, is it racism? Was what she did racist or not? And it really was great. We've seen the characters break down, and just to show us, yeah, even though this is TV, they are still human, and we are still human. We can't really put it all on us. We do need someone, and that was a great writing and character development.
Shout out to Sarita Singleton. She's fire, and she's a writer on this show.
Didn't Matukas direct this shit?
Huh?
Didn't Melina Matukas? I've always fuck her name up. Didn't she direct this episode?
I think no, not this episode.
Oh, it was Prentice Penny. Prentice Penny wrote and directed that last episode, but they had a dope slew of directors this year. Kerry Washington came on and directed this year. Like, they brought it this year.
Lawrence had the best.
Lawrence,
Kelly had the best
actor Jay Ellis directed an episode. Natasha directed an episode, which is Kelly. Like,
and shout out to the art department. The art department did a wonderful job, and the design team did an incredible job, and the lighting team did a phenomenal job this season.
Yeah, I think it was
in film. Throughout the history of film, it's always been a struggle, quote unquote, to film Black skin and dark skin,
which is retarded. Oh wait, I said I wasn't gonna. Wait, can everyone give me another word other than retarded?
Hats off to all of them.
Ridiculous.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Lena.
Oh, I'm
That's
done.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But no, Julius, yeah, you're right. They did such a beautiful job of just keeping it black and beautiful and real. And I can't wait for next season. Those are my only thoughts. I was left on pins and needles. I'm mad we have to wait so long. And I hope that it's also COVID pending because a lot of people are not getting back to filming until certain things are back in order in regards to COVID. So I hope that we don't have to wait too long. I hope that everybody stays safe and healthy, but I hope that we get a new season when we want it.
Yeah. Next season, are we getting a quarantine season where everybody's doing sneaky meetups and
sneaky links? I learned that word
that's only you, Danny. Everybody, thanks for sitting with us through this entire roller coaster season of Insecure. Season finale was great. I want to thank She Lindsay for joining us. And I'm Torian B. Reg ain't here, and he's First Class Reg. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.